Welcome to the daily English news program on Azərbaycan Television with the most important events of the day. I'm your host, Rəsmi. On January 26, President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Ilham accepted credentials of the newly appointed Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the French Republic, Anne Boylon.
The ambassador presented her credentials to President Ilham Aliyev. President Ilham Aliyev then had a conversation with the ambassador. President Ilham Aliyev noted that last year marked the 30th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Azerbaijan and France. The head of state pointed out the rich history of diplomatic relations between the two countries over the past period. President of Azerbaijan expressed hope that the coming period will be more fruitful in terms of developing bilateral relations and cooperation between the two countries within international organizations. The ambassador recalled national leader Heydar Aliyev's visit to France in 1993 and said that she will spare no effort to contribute to the development of relations between Azerbaijan and France during her tenure. During the conversation, the sides touched upon the regional issues, noting that Armenia has made baseless claims about the alleged closure of Lachin-Khankan road in the territory of Azerbaijan in recent times. The head of state said these claims are completely false and nonsense. President Ilham Aliyev underlined that the transportation of civilian goods and civilians is ensured on this road through Russian peacekeepers and the International Committee of the Red Cross. Since December 12th, passage of nearly 1,000 vehicles through this road in both directions has been ensured. The head of state stressed the importance of putting an end to the illegal exploitation of mineral deposits in the territories of Azerbaijan where Russian peacekeepers are temporarily stationed and ensuring the constant monitoring of these deposits by the country. President Ilham Aliyev wished the ambassador success during her diplomatic activity in Azerbaijan.
President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, received credentials of the newly appointed Ambassador Extraordinary Plenipotentiary of the Hellenic Republic, Christos Kapodistrias.
Ambassador Christos Kapodistrias presented his credentials to the head of state. President Ilham Aliyev had a conversation with the ambassador. The head of state said that the Southern Gas Corridor is a project of common interest connecting the two countries and contributing to the development of the entire region. He also noted that Greece plays the role as a transit country in the delivery of Azerbaijani gas to other European countries. President Ilham Aliyev recalled his participation in the inauguration ceremony of the gas interconnector Greece-Bulgaria and stressed the importance of this project's contribution to Europe's energy security. The head of state underlined that there are ample opportunities for the development of cooperation between the two countries in energy as well as in other fields. Ambassador Christos Kapodistrias said he will spare no effort to develop relations between the two countries during his tenure in Azerbaijan, noting that there is a great potential for the expansion of cooperation. The diplomat emphasized that there are wide opportunities for cooperation, particularly in science, education, culture, tourism, information and communication technologies and other areas. During the meeting, the sides also touched upon Azerbaijan's cooperation with the European Union and NATO. It was noted that Greece supports the expansion of Azerbaijan's relations with both organizations. During the conversation, the sides also touched upon the regional issues. President Ilham Aliyev informed the ambassador of the events that took place on the Lachin-Khankan road in the territory of Azerbaijan, adding that the claims of the Armenian side about the alleged closure of the road are completely groundless. The head of state noted that since December 12th, the movement of civilian goods and civilians as well as about 1,000 vehicles has been ensured on this road in both directions through the Russian peacekeepers and the International Committee of the Red Cross.
President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, received the credentials of the newly appointed Ambassador Extraordinary Plenipotentiary of the United Mexican States, Maria Victoria Romero Caballero.
Ambassador Romero Caballero presented her credentials to President Ilham Aliyev. The head of state had a conversation with the ambassador. President İlham said there are ample opportunities for development of cooperation, although the two countries are geographically far from each other. The ambassador also highlighted considerable room for cooperation between the two nations and underlined the great potential in energy, investment, science, education and other fields. The discussions also revolved around cooperation within international organizations. According to the ambassador, Mexico, as an observer in the non-aligned movement, keeps an eye on the initiatives of Azerbaijan, which holds the NAM chairmanship. She underlined Mexico supported the South-South cooperation process. President İlham noted that Azerbaijan's NAM chairmanship came forward with the initiatives towards institutionalization, including establishment of the NAM Youth Network and Parliamentary Network. Continuation of the effective cooperation between the two countries within international organizations was stressed at the meeting. The ambassador vowed to develop cooperation in a variety of spheres between the two nations during her tenure.
31 years have passed since the day of Dashalti operation, which was avenged. The operation targeted at liberation of the Dashalti village continued from 25th to 26th of January of 1992. Unfavorable weather conditions, lack of communication between units, leakage of secret information about the course of the operation, as well as the betrayal of the guides, led to its unsuccessful completion. The platoon that entered Dashalti was ambushed by Armenians. The remaining platoons, having suffered losses, were forced to retreat. In an unsuccessful operation, the Azerbaijani army lost about 100 servicemen, and the deputy head of the intelligence department of the Ministry of Defense, Lieutenant Colonel Riyad Ahmedov, went missing. The Armenians also suffered losses. During the operation, 80 enemy soldiers were eliminated. During the 44-day patriotic war on November 9, 2020, the glorious Azerbaijani army liberated the village of Dashalti. Thus, 28 years later, the operation in Dashalti was avenged. After the liberation, mass graves were discovered in Azerbaijani territories. Similar mass graves were also found in the village of Dashalti. As in other liberated territories, restoration work is being carried out in Dashalti. The rally on the Lachin-Khankendi road against the illegal exploitation of mineral deposits in Karabakh has been continuing for the 46th day. Despite the cold and frosty weather, the eco-activists and NGOs representatives are active and demonstrate will and perseverance. Free movement of humanitarian vehicles belonging to the Russian peacekeepers on the road where the rally takes place is ensured. It proves once again that the road is open for humanitarian purposes. The ecological terror of Armenia in our territories and the protest of Azerbaijani ecologists on the Lachin-Khankendi road was discussed at the Withered session of PACE in Strasbourg. The members of the delegation of our country in the structure presented the report Impact of Armed Conflicts on the Environment. It was noted that photographs of Karabakh and Eastern Zangezur taken in the last century and available satellite images clearly speak of the ecological terror committed by Armenia in these territories. During the Armenian occupation, it wasn't possible to assess the ecological state of the transboundary rivers, but the monitoring conducted after the liberation of the territory shows that the rivers are polluted by heavy metals. Untreated industrial water from the copper molybdenum plants of Armenia, as well as wastewater discharged from Kapan and Gajaran, continues to pollute Okchuchay River. It was reported that Azerbaijani eco-activists were holding a rally on the territory of the city of Shusha in protest against environmental terror. Members of the Parliamentary Assembly were also informed that the demand of the peaceful rally is to put an end to the illegal exploitation by Armenia of the Gazalbulaq and Amirli deposits and the illegal export of gold, copper and molybdenum mines there. That was all for the day. Thank you for being with us and see you next time.